Most Warframe players already know that newer players quit playing the game within the first 3 days, maybe a week. Now, the reason newer players quit is due to a plethora of reasons, whether they figure out a bunch of the problems Warframe has, or they figure out the chain of progression and realize the content quickly gets mind-numbing and boring for quite a few people, which is why most players end up taking breaks from Warframe, which lasts as long as 2 years even, or more, before they end up coming back to consume all the content that came out beforehand and play for a month and then do the exact same thing as before. Now, the chain of progression I'm talking about, which becomes mind-numbingly boring, which I'm sure everybody's aware of, is you defeat a challenge, whether that's a boss or anything, and it's technically speaking, it's not even really a challenge for most people anymore. The game is just so easy and everything is so overpowered that you pretty much just breeze through everything. But the point is, you do something, you gain power, you can defeat a bigger enemy, and then you rinse repeat this until you have as much power as possible. Once you have as much power as possible and you're technically in the end game, from there it's all fashion framing and waiting for the next big update to come out, testing out builds, and grinding materials for something you want. Rinse repeat. It's just a game of grinding. Now, if you don't like that, then that's a-okay, but there are quite a few players that do like that form of content. Now, there are quite a few reasons why newer players end up quitting Warframe, and one of the main reasons I actually found was the Foundry. The Foundry is where you craft all your items. It's an essential part of the game. It's something that you will use regularly. Now, in the Foundry, when you craft something, you get a timer. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's 3 days long. Every Warframe is 3 days long. So unless you're willing to spend plat to rush something, you will end up waiting on a timer. Now, plat is a premium currency, not everybody has it. You would either have to buy it or trade for it. There is no other way to get it. So the waiting time feels more like a mobile game gimmick that tries to force you into a microtransaction than anything else, which immediately turns people away from playing the game. Not to mention just the absurd waiting times for some items, 12 hours, 24 hours, 3 days. That type of stuff is just extremely annoying for most players because they're just trying to play the game when they get home from school or work or whenever they have free time, and then they get blocked by a timer. And as a newer player, they probably don't know what to do next. They're just going through the motions and they get blocked by a timer anytime they try to play. It's something I see all the time. Now, there are other reasons newer players quit, but that is the biggest one I found. If you have any others, I'd like to hear about it. But the biggest reasons endgame players quit, veterans, is because they reach a point where all they're doing is chasing bigger numbers. They're looking for the next big red crit. They're trying to make their Warframe more optimal. And in doing so, it's just become mind-numbingly boring for them. Because Warframe lacks any form of endgame, such as mythic dungeons like World of Warcraft has, or the Nightmare Rage Destiny 2 has, or even the Savage Rage or Ultimate Rage that Final Fantasy XIV has. Warframe has no rage. They got rid of that stuff years ago. And chasing bigger numbers is only fun for so long before you just get bored and tired of doing the same repetitive thing over and over again, which leads to the long breaks that players often take. I've taken a break from this game for 2-3 years before. I know somebody that's taken a break for 4 years. And then there are people that just drop the game entirely because they treat it as a full-time job just to upkeep and get everything they possibly can, which will naturally become even more mind-numbing and boring than anything else. But honestly, that's pretty much just about it. For veteran players, not having anything left to do other than chasing big numbers is the main reasons I've found, but if there are any more, I'd definitely love to hear about them. Same with newer players. As I already mentioned, I'd love to hear more about why newer players quit the game. The main reason I found was the Foundry basically time locking them, which is something nobody likes having to do in a game they're playing in their free time. It just becomes tedious and annoying and more of a drag than anything else. But with that being said, that is just about it. Until next time.